Streaming now at 7, a giant has fallen. The Reverend Jesse Jackson has passed away at the age of 84.
But the ground he gained for others still standing.
I am somebody. I am somebody.
The Jackson family says he passed peacefully early this morning, surrounded by his loved ones.
We have team coverage on the man being remembered as a political genius on this Tuesday, February 17th.
Live from Chicago, this is breaking news from ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Good morning to you. I'm Diane Pathew.
And I'm Tanya Babich. Before an update on weather and traffic for you this morning, Chicago is waking up to the news that the Reverend Jesse Jackson has passed away.
We will have live team coverage on the icon whose fight for justice changed lives far beyond this city. But first, Tracy and Stephanie with the latest on weather and traffic this morning. Tracy?
And good morning, everybody. And we are starting off with this. What a beautiful sky that we have out there this morning. However, it is a sky that is fairly cloudy, and we are going to have mainly cloudy skies with us here throughout much of the day. Our high temperatures this afternoon will top out in the mid-50s. It will be cooler lakeside with that southeast wind, but I wouldn't be shocked at all. Some of you, Pontiac, even over toward Rensselaer, Joliet, you get to 60 degrees this afternoon. Full forecast, it is coming up. Stephanie, what do you have in that traffic department?
Good morning, everyone. If you're heading out the door, expect about a 35 to 40-minute trip to get into downtown right now on our inbound expressways. We do have a couple incidents out there, though. Northbound I-55, the delays just continue to grow, approaching I-355 for this crash here, blocking the left lane. Delays really start around Weber, so heads up. Definitely give yourself plenty of extra time before you head out the door there. Then this crash inbound Kennedy is off on the shoulder near Harlem, but it's still causing a delay as folks are taking a look over at that crash site. So about 40 minutes from O'Hare into downtown. You can see traffic starting to fill in here on the Kennedy. This is near Fullerton. Back to you.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. Now to our breaking news we've been following for you all morning long on the death of the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
His family says he passed peacefully early this morning, surrounded by his loved ones. We have extensive coverage, have to be said. This morning we're live outside of his home on the south side. That's where we have our Jasmine Miner. Jasmine?
Hey, good morning, guys. You know, I spoke to Reverend Jesse Jackson's son, Yusuf Jackson, a couple months ago at their Rainbow Push Thanksgiving dinner. And I remember him telling me that throughout Reverend Jackson's health battles, when he was in and out of the hospital, there were these moments where he would wake up, his mind would be sharp, he'd be very clear, and he would talk about having dreams seeing Martin Luther King and Barack Obama. And then he turned to his family and gave them a single mission to carry out, to end poverty and hunger in Chicago and across the nation. So even in his health battles, he was still determined to get work done. We know Reverend Jesse Jackson, born in segregated South Carolina in 1941, he rose to national prominence working alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And Reverend Jackson founded Operation Push and the Rainbow Push Coalition in Chicago, fighting for civil rights, economic opportunity, and justice for decades. And we know that he made his mark on politics as the first black man to run for president of the United States, running for president twice, and eventually paving the way for former President Barack Obama. Well, the Reverend's other son, Jesse Jackson Jr., spoke to ABC7 this morning on the death of his father.
He wasn't a person of great means. He didn't care about things. He was really driven by a life ministry of helping people appreciate their somebodiness, that their life mattered. And so much of his life, he had experienced rejection, and he found ways to overcome that. He took the broken places of his life and he turned them into strengths, and he became an inspiration for all. And so we're so grateful for that. That's really what I think our family would convey at this hour. We're just grateful that God sent him all our way and that we had 8.5 decades with him.
He was not deterred. He was not afraid to act. If he thought he could do something, he did it. He was a very confident black man. And in this country, you're not supposed to be a confident black man. You're supposed to always be making yourself small and apologizing for being there. And he never did. He was going to be larger than life, and he is larger than life, even now. And so that was his largest accomplishment.
And he absolutely did take that confidence that he himself had and then pour that into others. This is a picture you can see there of Reverend Jesse Jackson and I. That was actually from a couple summers ago. But I first met Reverend Jackson when I was a kid at Rainbow Push. And I can tell you, he was someone who always had his office door open. I would come in, he would teach a little bit about history to me, and then he had no shortage of stories to tell to me or any of the other kids in there. And then he would look at us and he would say, "You are somebody, and I'm proud of you." And so his impact went far beyond politics, and of course going from what he was doing across the nation to right here at home in Chicago. Of course, we'll send it over to Lisette Nunez, who I believe is at Rainbow Push Coalition, with more.
And we will handle that. Jasmine, thank you. Appreciate your reflections. Now we go to Lisette Nunez, who continues our team coverage outside of the Rainbow Push Coalition, turning a coalition, Lisette, that turned outrage into action.
Yeah, well, for decades, the Rainbow Push Coalition has advocated for civil rights and social justice, and of course, the founder, Reverend Jesse Jackson. Now, this organization was a merger between Operation Push and the Rainbow Coalition. His advocacy started at a really young age. At just 24 years old, Jackson became head of the Chicago chapter of Operation Breadbasket, which secured economic and employment opportunities for Black communities. Jackson received numerous awards through his lifetime, including the NAACP President's Award and the American Institute for Public Services Jefferson Award. Now, Jackson was also recognized nationally in 2021. He also received France's highest Order of Merit with the Commander of the Legion of Honor. We're live in Kenwood. Lisette Nunez, ABC7 Eyewitness News. Back to you.
Lisette Nunez reporting live for us. Lisette, thank you.
And now joining us on the phone is ABC7 political analyst Laura Washington. Laura, thanks so much for being with us.
It's good to be with you.
Oh, look, we get to see you. How about that, Laura? Appreciate it. So you woke up to the news this morning that the Reverend had passed away. What are your initial thoughts for us?
Well, it wasn't a complete surprise, clearly, because he had been very ill late last year, as you recall, and even on death's door by some accounts. But he rallied, and people were very hopeful about that. But he'd been sick for many, many years, so we knew that the time was sooner rather than later. But he's a loss to Chicago that will never be replaced.
And Laura, what about from city leaders and other activists, community leaders? What are you hearing from them?
Well, I think that people were, they were prepared, but I think people are going to be looking to see what the next voice will be. One of the things that we've learned, particularly around civil rights and social justice, is that voices matter and charisma matters. And someone who can command an audience, someone who can compel people to act, those are very important qualities. And there are many other vocal leaders in Chicago and across the nation who are fighting for justice, but he was singular. And I think people are going to be wondering who will be the next Jesse Jackson.
Singular and an heir apparent when he took on this title role of leading civil rights activist after Martin Luther King was assassinated. They were very close. They worked together, and so people saw kind of where we were heading or where leadership was heading after King was assassinated. We don't necessarily have that at this point.
Yeah, no, we don't. There's no successor, at least no successor in the context of that he came from, the civil rights movement, the church. But there are many people. You could look at his own family. You've got Jonathan Jackson, who I know you spoke to earlier today, who is now in Congress, his son. You have Jesse Jackson Jr., who has previously served in Congress. You have people who have come out of his orbit who are continuing the fight in other ways. And Reverend Al Sharpton, of course, who's not based here in Chicago, but is in New York, who considers himself a mentee of Jesse Jackson. They were very close, and you're going to be hearing a lot from Al Sharpton in the next few days. And he has a different role to play. He's again based in Washington. He has a television show, but these are all voices that are going to continue, that I'm sure are going to vow to continue the fight.
And Laura, before we let you go this morning, Reverend Jesse Jackson often talked about his humble beginnings and how he sort of rose into this position. What do you think was it about him and his voice that people stopped and listened to, and in fact made a global impact on some very heavy political hitters?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I think his messaging around hope, around being accountable to yourself and demanding that others be accountable to you. I think that that was something that really inspired him. He had that charisma. He knew how to get that across in a speech, and it made so many powerful, influential speeches. And people listened to him, and people took notice. He had a lot of power at the peak of his power. People had to listen to him. He picked up the phone and he called international leaders, business leaders, political leaders, people who didn't agree with him. They took his calls because he had so much power, he had so much influence, and he had a huge following, and they knew that they had to listen and respond.
Laura Washington, always grateful for your time and for your insight. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
For more on Reverend Jesse Jackson's life and legacy here in Chicago and across the country, you can find continuing coverage on ABC7 app and ABC7Chicago.com. Back after this break.
Good morning to you. Well, on this Tuesday, our weather notes include the following. So a mild day still ahead of us here today, but a lot of clouds with us today, and some showers will motor in here later this evening, extend into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow we're back into the 60s, but the weekend it is still looking colder. Today, some of you will get to 60 degrees today. Officially, I think we'll top out right around 56 degrees, and it will be cooler areas along the lake. We have the clouds overhead right now, and then here's tonight, 7 p.m. So you see rain kind of moves into the area, into the overnight hours too. Some of our data suggesting there could be a rumble of thunder in the area. Not a lot, however. Currently at O'Hare, we're at 41 degrees. Very gentle wind, if any at all. It is 44 Northerly Island, 35 degrees in Kankakee, 37 right now in Geneva. Mid-50s for highs today, 60s tomorrow, 50s on Thursday, but Thursday could be a day with falling temperatures. Stephanie.
We have a couple suburban crashes to tell you about. Heads up in the Gurnee area, Washington Street, just east of the Tri-State Tollway. We have a crash there. Crews are now responding. We'll give you some more information about that coming up. Also, a little further south in Park Ridge area, Dempster and Potter Road, not a great area to have a crash. Crews are definitely in the area. Expect some really heavy delays on Dempster as you move through this crash site. Then taking a look across the board, our expressways and tollways, building travel times right now for your Tuesday morning commute, upwards of about 40 minutes right now on the inbound Kennedy, and about the same 35 on the Ike and Stevenson to head out the door. Also, reminder, this crash is still out there on the shoulder inbound Kennedy near Harlem, but we are seeing some delays as we move through the area. Folks are just looking over at that crash off on the shoulder. Back to you, ladies.
Stephanie, thank you. We're continuing coverage this morning after the death of Reverend Jesse Jackson at the age of 84.
Joining us now on the phone is ABC7 political reporter Craig Wall. Craig, what are you hearing right now?
You know, the the resonation of the loss of Jesse Jackson Jr. is something that is being felt from Chicago across this country and frankly across the world, because he was such an icon and such a trailblazer in so many ways. His impact is really larger than life in many ways. It's hard to encapsulate what Jesse Jackson meant to this country, to the civil rights movement. After the death of Martin Luther King, he helped sort of usher the civil rights movement north with the Rainbow Push Coalition. But, his two presidential campaigns were just remarkable in how they really brought together a wider coalition, this rainbow coalition that he ran on of the Democratic Party. And everything about it was about economic empowerment and social justice and civil rights. And it's just a tremendous loss for all of those movements.
And Craig, he talked a lot about the importance of everyone's right to vote and really pushed as much as possible, especially in underserved communities, for those community members to get out and cast their vote. Why was that so important to him, you think?
Well, when you just think about the civil rights movement was all about, helping people gain a foothold and a power in this country that they didn't have. And one of the significant ways of being able to do that and to have an impact is to be able to vote. And so when, he embraced that movement in, enlarging the voting power of Black Americans, that was really a stepping stone for people to begin and to, the words he frequently used, right? Keep hope alive. Well, there was the hope that came with the power to vote and the right to vote and the ability to make an impact on your community and on the country.
And his son Jonathan spoke to us about that, his ever hopefulness. Craig, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Coming up at 7:17, from the streets to the ballot box, Reverend Jesse Jackson helped reshape politics and inspire future generations.
Cheryl Burton takes a closer look at his impact still being felt today. $719 billionaire businessman Tom Pritzker stepping down as executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels. He says he used, quote, terrible judgment. Tom Pritzker is named in the Epstein files. He's the cousin of Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Files reveal Tom Pritzker kept in contact with Epstein even after Epstein's plea deal on sex crimes in 2008. He also had past association with Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. Pritzker released a statement saying in part, quote, I exercised terrible judgment in maintaining contact with them, and there is no excuse for failing to distance myself sooner. Next week, former President Bill Clinton and former First Lady Hillary Clinton expected to testify before a House panel about Epstein. Hillary Clinton told the BBC everyone who has been asked to testify should do so.
Tomorrow, Governor Pritzker will announce his proposed budget. He's expected to call for spending limits as the state faces potential federal cuts from the Trump administration. Political reporter Craig Wall will be in Springfield for that address, and we'll have live reports on Eyewitness News.
A West Side property owner is asking for the public's help to find the perpetrator in a series of vehicle break-ins. These happened in the city's Garfield Park neighborhood over the weekend. Alex Roman says his tenant's vehicle was broken into Saturday night. Alex says he later found out from other neighbors more cars were broken into around the same time. Surveillance video shows an individual going car to car on West Arthington.
I noticed the cars that they did break into, they didn't leave any materials inside, like whatever they used to break it, they took it back out with them. And they were wearing gloves, a mask, a hood.
We are awaiting a response from CPD. Alex is offering a $2,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest in the case. A 14-year-old boy is recovering from a gunshot wound. He was hit in the foot last night in the Loop near Wabash in Washington. Nobody is in custody.
A few hours later, a 16-year-old boy was shot near 127th and Wentworth. Chicago police say it was an armed robbery. The boy got himself to Roseland Hospital, where he was in fair condition. No one is in custody.
We are expecting to hear from hundreds of educators rallying in Springfield today, calling for more school funding. Illinois Federation of Teachers members plan to deliver a letter to Governor Pritzker. The letter urges leaders to follow through on promised dollars and to protect education from federal cuts. Educators will have a news conference this morning at 11 o'clock from the state capitol. Also in Springfield today, lawmakers are back under the same roof. For the first time this session, members of the Illinois House and Senate are meeting in person at the Capitol. It comes a day before Governor Pritzker's budget address. The House and Senate both gavel in at noon. There are several committee meetings on the agenda today.
A meeting is happening later this afternoon in the Grundy County community of Coal City to discuss a proposed data center project. Representatives from the company Aligned Adaptive Data Centers will preview plans for the 300-acre site at Reed Road and Carbon Hill Road. Tonight's meeting begins at 5 p.m. at the Coal City High School Gymnasium.
Well, right now we're going to join our Good Morning America viewers. I'll have a news update on TV in just a bit. You'll see it here as well.
And when we come back, Hollywood's latest celebration with big names and major moments from the red carpet.
Live from Chicago, this is breaking news from ABC7 Eyewitness News.
7:23, good morning. I'm Tanya Babich. Our breaking news this morning is that the world is mourning civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. The two-time presidential candidate died early this morning at the age of 84. Jackson rose to prominence in the 1960s as a leader in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We spoke with his son, Jesse Jackson Jr., who says the loss of his father is going to leave an unimaginable void.
But we're just grateful to God that he blessed all of us, that his life touched ours. And I think over the next few days, the next few weeks, maybe the next few years, people will come to appreciate the kind of leadership and the void that he's left us, and that all of us are going to have to fill. No one person can fill this void.
Public observances will be held in Chicago. The Rainbow Push Coalition is making final arrangements for the Reverend Jackson's celebration of life services, including all public events. We will continue to follow this story for you, remembering this champion of the civil rights movement. Let's get a check now of the ABC7 AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Tracy Butler.
Hi there, Tanya. Well, here on this Tuesday morning, clouds are thickening up, kind of filling in out there. No precipitation, however. 35 in Aurora, 37 degrees in Morris, 35 Bradley, 41 at O'Hare, 43 in Westville. Our average low today is 22 degrees. We're way above that. And we will be above average, of course, in the high temperature category today, too, as we effort those temperatures back up into the mid-50s, cooler along the lake. Stephanie, after this.
If you want total health care from a provider you trust, Hi, Blair.
Right in the palm of your hand? If you want soup, sweatpants, and zero in-person contact. If you want wellness wherever. Our virtual primary care delivers with great website manner.
No worries.
So choose your doctor from our profiles and enjoy the healthiest online relationship you've ever had. House calls have evolved. Advocate Healthcare.
Good morning, everyone. A couple crashes to tell you about as you head out the door. Starting the south side, northbound Stony Island and 89th Street. Over in the expressways, another crash here. Outbound Eisenhower near Ridgeland Avenue.
Welcome back, streamers. 7:27 here on your Tuesday morning. Beautiful start to the day. We'll check with Tracy a little bit later to talk about your warm-up coming up later on.
Hollywood rolled out the red carpet for Black excellence. The 8th annual American Black Film Festival honors were held last night, right in the midst of Black History Month. Angela Bassett, Jennifer Hudson, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Damson Idris were among those who received awards. The creative team behind Sinners, including Ryan and Zinzi Kugler, were given a special tribute. Bassett, who received the Excellence in the Arts Award, said, while it's nice to look back on her career accomplishments, she tries always to look ahead to what's next.
I'm, extraordinarily pleased with what I've been able to carve out and to do. And the hills, the mountain, the journey, the stresses, the struggles, the triumph that come along with the journey. So, yeah, but I try to look forward and try to make new discoveries and stay curious.
You can see Bassett on 911 every Thursday night right here on ABC7.
Coming up this morning, streaming at 7, Chicago Morning, Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Still ahead, Cheryl Burton looks back at the life and legacy of a civil rights giant.
Streaming live from Chicago, ABC7 Eyewitness News at 7 continues.
Tuesday, February 17th. Good morning and welcome back. We are talking about some breaking news this morning, but we're going to get to your weather and traffic to start things off. 42 degrees on this sunshiny day, and it's certainly going to be comfortable around here today. Tracy?
Yeah, we are looking for those temperatures getting back not to record-breaking levels, but we'll be up in the mid-50s for high temperatures this afternoon. Fair amount of cloud cover with us through the day today, and there are rain chances that will be building most likely after the evening commute is done. Those will linger into the wee hours tomorrow morning, but today we keep it generally cloudy and another mild day. Stephanie, what do you have in the traffic department?
Well, Tracy, we have a big issue on Metro right now. BNSF trains are stopped in both directions because a train hit a pedestrian there. It happened near Westmont. So we're hearing that there are extensive delays on the BNSF line. Inbound and outbound trains are completely stopped. We'll make some more calls to Metro and keep you updated here. Over on the roads, we do have several crashes to get to, starting on the city's south side, northbound Stony Island Avenue and 89th Street. There's a crash here, so expect some delays moving through that intersection. On the expressways, outbound Eisenhower, there's a crash off on the shoulder near Ridgeland Avenue, but it's getting mixed into the growing delay there. And lastly, another crash here northbound Route 53 approaching Rand Road, seeing delays starting at Northwest Highway. Back to you.
Stephanie, thank you. Back to our breaking news. Chicago mourning a towering figure in civil rights and politics. The Jackson family confirming Reverend Jesse Jackson has died. From mobilizing voters to building the Rainbow Push Coalition, his impact is felt in communities that credit him with pushing doors open and pushing the country to listen.
The Jackson family released a statement this morning saying in part, quote, "Our father was a servant leader, not only to our family, but to the oppressed, the voiceless, and the overlooked around the world." The family says Jackson died peacefully this morning, surrounded by loved ones. He was 84.
And this morning, as we've talked about, a giant has fallen, but the ground he gained for others is still standing as Chicago remembers Reverend Jesse Jackson today.
Cheryl Burton looks back at his extraordinary life.
His foundation as a civil rights champion began with his upbringing in South Carolina. Born in the segregated town of Greenville, his mother, Helen Burns, was a high school student at the time. Jesse was taught to ride in the back of the bus. He did well in school and was accepted to the University of Illinois on a football scholarship. But on a visit back home to South Carolina, he joined a demonstration of black students at the whites-only public library.
Several of my classmates and I, we were arrested trying to use a public library in Greenville, South Carolina. We could not buy ice cream in the front door at Howard Johnson.
Jackson transferred to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University in Greensboro and found his focus in the civil rights movement.
Somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
In 1965, Jackson marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the Alabama marches from Selma to Montgomery, the state capital.
Against that setting, he dreamed of a day we be judged by character, not condemned by color.
Jackson's passion impressed Dr. King, although their relationship was not always smooth. Jackson was appointed director of Operation Breadbasket in Chicago, the economic arm of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. The purpose, to create jobs for African Americans and support black-owned businesses. Jesse Jackson was with Dr. King in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th, 1968, when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated.
Shot, killed in cold blood. All I can remember is some voice saying, "One bullet cannot kill a movement. We must keep going."
2 months later, in June, Jackson was ordained a minister. 1971, he founded Operation Push, People United to Save Humanity, later becoming the Rainbow Push Coalition. Based on Chicago's South Side, it would become a powerful political and religious force, urging economic development and opportunity for Black Americans and racial diversity in hiring and management, using the muscle of boycotts against businesses that stood in the way of its efforts. Coca-Cola was a target, Anheuser-Busch, Burger King, Nike, and CBS Television, among others. The man who demanded respect from giant corporations also had a humorous side and would make people laugh. On Saturday Night Live, his rendition of a Dr. Seuss classic in his trademark speaking style is iconic.
I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham.
But over decades, Reverend Jesse Jackson was growing in political stature and his influence on international matters. He traveled to Syria in 1983 to secure the release of a captured American Navy pilot. He helped to negotiate the release of 22 Americans being held in Cuba by Fidel Castro. His private diplomacy found success over the years, as well as his growing political strength. In 1984, Reverend Jackson made his first run for President of the United States.
This is not a black campaign. It's a campaign through the eyes of the hurt and the rejected.
But his primary campaign took a hit when he used derogatory terms for Jewish people in New York City in a private conversation that became public. He would run for president again in 1988, coming in second in the Democratic primary. Reverend Jackson's own goal of leading the nation from the Oval Office would not happen. But ABC7 was with Reverend Jackson in Denver in 2008.
So let us agree that patriotism has no party. I love this country, and so do you.
The night Barack Obama accepted the Democratic Party's nomination for president.
I practiced not crying tonight. I was going to be real tough because I had a lot of emotions.
Tears would fill Reverend Jackson's eyes 3 months later, watching here in Chicago as America elected its first black president.
We went from the balcony in Memphis, Tennessee, where Dr. King was killed, balcony of the White House in Washington. President Barack Obama could wave it over the Potomac River. In 40 years, we came to the wilderness. In 40 years, we went from the balcony to the balcony, using the effective vote and building coalitions.
It was late 2017 when Reverend Jackson announced he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, the same condition that took his father's life. But it didn't slow his quest for civil rights, equality, and protesting the deadly shooting of Laquan McDonald.
We need a sense of fairness and justice applies to all.
In July of 2023, Reverend Jackson stepped down as the head of the Rainbow Push Coalition. And in July of 2025, the National Bar Association honored him with a Lifetime Achievement Award. The Reverend Jesse Jackson,
Keep hope alive.
Leaving large footprints for the journey that remains.
On tomorrow night and beyond. Keep hope alive. I love you very much.
Cheryl Burton, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
It's funny, you spend so much time reflecting on, with video clips, with sound bites. Cheryl here delivering this brilliant report over the course of about 6 minutes or so, and yet there's so much that is left out.
Isn't that something?
A lifetime of service, decades of service, and of interaction with many people in civil life and, of course, in politics as well. That includes former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who joins us on the phone this morning. Ms. Lightfoot, thank you so much for joining us.
No, it's my pleasure, and thank you for that beautiful reel of his life's work and the highlights. But you're correct. There's so much more that can be said and will be said.
How do you reflect upon your interactions with him? At times he was lobbying you for to act in a particular way in your capacity as mayor, and at other times the work was collaborative.
Well, it was always collaborative. Reverend Jackson, I think, was one of the most brilliant strategists that I had ever met. He always played chess at a master level. But we had, I think, a very good rapport and understanding. I really came to value his counsel, his perspective on the world. He always saw things in a way that really no one else did. And I just, in being in his presence, really enriched my life.
And Madam Mayor, if we can continue with that part of the conversation, because we know what his legacy and message and how it impacted others globally, but how did it impact you and when you were serving time here in Chicago?
Well, I met him years before I even thought about running for mayor. And, I would say the first time I met him, I was incredibly intimidated. Here's this twice-run presidential candidate, a man of the world, an iconic civil rights figure, and there I was sitting in his office at Rainbow Push having this conversation. It was definitely one of those pinch yourself moments, but he made being in his presence very easy. He was incredibly nice and warm and generous, and we really, I think, hit it off from the very beginning. And obviously, when I became mayor, there were different things that he thought I should be doing, different things that, frankly, he wanted to really, I think, further the mission of helping the displaced, the poor, people that had been left behind. And so we were in alignment on a lot of our vision of the world. We were both kids that grew up in struggling families. And so there were many points of connection between us.
Mayor Lightfoot, before we let you go, do you have any memory that you will remember especially fondly of your interactions with the Reverend Jackson?
Well, here's the thing, and you alluded to it in your early reporting. He had a tremendous sense of humor, and the thing I also really bonded with him about is he loved sports, and so do I. And so he was very much up on particularly the NBA. He was a great lover of music and the arts. And I hope that part of his story will also be told. He truly was a Renaissance man, a great, deep thinker. And I was just grateful for every moment that I was in his presence.
Well said. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot joining us live this morning. Mayor, thank you so very much for your thoughts on the Reverend and just the legacy that he not only left behind, but will continue to leave behind. We appreciate it. Jackson's life and legacy, we will continue to talk about it, not just here in Chicago, but across the country. We urge you to head to our website and news app for continuing coverage. ABC7 Eyewitness News continues after this break.
Good morning to you, Live Look. Well west, out toward DeKalb, NIU country. Lots of clouds there, clouds over the city, and there you see the clouds that have filled in right here in Chicago. Maybe a little peek of sun over there, northwest Indiana at this moment. Currently, we're 39 in Zion, 36 in Maryville, 35 out in Aurora, and 36 degrees now in Ottawa, while it's 36 also in Lake Geneva. So clouds will definitely win the sky today. Highs in the mid 50s. Average high today is 36 degrees. Yeah, we're going to blow that away again. Not a record, however. The record high today is 67. Later this evening, there will be some rain that comes in. It probably holds off until after the evening commute. We'll see a little rain here early tomorrow morning. Stephanie?
Good morning. We continue to follow this major issue on the BNSF line. All trains are stopped inbound and outbound near Westmont because a train hit a pedestrian there. So if this is your typical route to work, you're a commuter, definitely expect extensive delays and cancellations on the BNSF line. We will keep you updated once that issue resolves there. Over on the roads, we have a crash in the Park Ridge area, Dempster and Potter Road. It's been out there for quite some time, but crews are still there, partially blocking this intersection, so just a heads up, expect some delays moving through that area. Then taking a look across the board, tracking roughly a 45-minute trip right now on our inbound expressways to get into downtown for your Tuesday morning commute. Also, this crash still off on the shoulder, northbound Route 53 approaching Rand Road, and delays still go back to Northwest Highway. Back to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Coming up next, Punchki Day. Taking over the studio, we are sampling, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 dozens.
If we must, Tanya, if we must. Twist my arm.
Somebody has to do it. Dozens of flavors. We're going to crown a favorite.
Welcome back. Now to today's talkers. We're talking about Punchki Day.
Also known as Fat Tuesday, and bakeries all across Chicagoland are in overdrive.
That's right. Those rich filled pastries are the pre-Lent splurge. And for a lot of families, it's really a can't-miss tradition. This is video from Jarouche Bakery. It's been an Elk Grove Village favorite since 1959. It now has a brand new location with classic recipes and dozens of Punchki flavors. A sweet Chicago area staple stepping into a new chapter just in time for Punchki Day. We've got a sweet spread in the studio this morning. Look at that. Anything your heart desires right here in front of us.
I know, and we have several bakeries here. So we've got Jarouche here, we have Ideal Bakery over here, and the one in the front here is Oak Mill. And so we thank them all for all of these do we have a prune one for Diane? I think I might spot one.
That one right
That's
there?
probably prune, yeah, right
could
here.
well be
right?
traditional, according to Diane.
Here's a plate.
Well, that's what I've learned when we went to Poland. They taught me, how to pronounce it properly, which one's the proper, most traditional flavor.
And the prune apparently is the most traditional flavor. Did we get the right one?
This is not prune.
It's not.
What is it?
It's quite
But
delicious.
it's still delicious. Okay.
Raspberry.
Wonderful. We'll see if we
Okay.
can get you some napkins as well.
So yummy.
So Fat Tuesday coming before Ash Wednesday, which is tomorrow. It marks the start of Lent for many Christians. Now, Pope Leo is urging Catholics during this Lenten period to embrace fasting, reflection, and community. Lent is the 40-day season of spiritual preparation leading up to Easter. Really kind of darling and also, you know, timely. Pope Leo the other day, when he was talking about what he wanted people to give up, he said, you know, give up speaking ill, choosing your word, you know, perhaps choose your words carefully during this Lenten period. Probably some good advice. Yeah. And I know that many people have things that they give up every year. Tracy, are you prepared?
I'm prepared. I give up the Twizzlers every year, and I try to do something nice for someone each day. I mean, I should do that year round, but I maybe have more of a mindset during Lent.
Yeah, understandable. Anybody give anything
I like
up
what you said about just thinking before you speak.
Choose your words.
Yes,
Yes.
I think we can all be more conscious of that.
Yeah. In my cultural tradition, we don't get to choose what we give up. It's veganism essentially. It's no meat, no eggs, no milk.
Yes,
but my
we're
fellow,
the same.
the three of
right there with you, girl.
This is the only time in my life I have not been in the religious minority. So my Orthodox sisters here, Assyrian, Greek, Serbian, and that was always the hardest thing, was giving up the chocolate.
You have to
because
give up
it's made with
everything.
dairy.
Yep.
So no
Vegan,
eggs, no meat, no
for
milk
40 days.
for 40 days. And so there it is. Love to know what you give up for Lent. Feel free to hit us up on social media. And love the acts of charity and kindness also during this Lenten period. Quick break. We'll be right back.
Eyewitness News, streaming at 7, continues after a break.
Trying to figure out. Taking a look now at the top stories, the Reverend Jesse Jackson has passed away. Reverend Jackson became a towering figure not just in the civil rights movement, but also in American politics. He rose from being an associate of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to twice running for the presidency and founding Chicago's Rainbow Push Coalition. Reverend Jackson was 84 years old.
Billionaire businessman Tom Pritzker stepping down as executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels. He says he used, quote, terrible judgment in maintaining a relationship with late disgraced sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein after his plea deal on sex crimes in 2008. Their relationship is referenced in the Epstein files. Pritzker is the cousin of Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. And before we end this hour, as we told you a little bit earlier, today is Punchki Day. It's the day before Ash Wednesday, tradition of indulging in the rich jelly-filled Polish donuts. And it is always a pleasure to have all of these local bakeries in-house bringing these punchkis, and we wish you obviously very healthy Lenten season.
Well, before we get healthy, let's have punchki. This is video of the team at De Edda's Bakery in Naperville frying up a batch for us. We've got a big old box here. Oh, I love the dip. And we want to thank our friends at Jarosh Bakery for the morning delivery on this Fat Tuesday as well. We have Oak Mill. And somebody help me out with the last one. Can we shout it out?
I don't know who the last one is.
All right, I'm getting up to go. Okay. I don't want to miss the name. So I'm running over right here. We have Ideal Bakery here in Elk Grove. And so we thank them for their contribution today. And we are going to eat up and get fat.
We are spoiled.
I missed that one. I got to get the apricot.
I know, apricot does sound lovely. Oh, you get to see me trying to get up on the stool here.
That does it for us on the streaming hours.
Very
Stand by
good.
for more news coming up at 8 a.m. Happy Punchki Day.
This has been Eyewitness News, streaming at 7. Live from Chicago, this is breaking news from ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Good morning. It is 7:56. I'm Tanya Babich. Breaking news: civil rights icon and two-time presidential candidate, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, died early this morning at the age of 84. His family released a statement expressing their profound sadness, saying they shared him with the world, and in return, the world became part of their extended family. Jackson had been in the hospital in recent months. He had a rare progressive neurological disorder. Our coverage of this breaking news will continue this morning here and on our website and news app. Stay with us. We'll check on weather and traffic for you coming up next.